Alicia, you're live. You can go ahead.
Yeah, should we start?
Yeah, we can start.
Yeah. So first of all, I would like to good evening everyone. I'm Alicia Bharti, the co-host. I'm the host of this event. I welcome you all to this uh, women of empowerment event. Let's Grow More Women Empowerment Program is back with a Power Pack program where we, along with the tech savvy women, are happy to share and let all of you know about the hurdles and the experiences and learning of our life. We are ecstatic to announce the speaker of Voice of Wisdom is Khyati Desai, who is a finance enthusiast. A warm welcome to you, ma'am. She is the partner of Fineoteric Consulting LLP, ex KPMG and ex CNBC TV18. She is a finance enthusiast with a zeal to create opportunities for women in the empowerment in the finance sector. And I would also like to warm welcome Aman sir and Isha Dabas also. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to host this meeting today. So, ma'am, I would like to give to introduce yourself.
Hi, Alicia, and very good evening to all our lovely viewers today. Is there an echo? Should I use your phone or something? Or can you hear me?
No, you can. Okay.
All right. So, thank you, all you wonderful people, for joining us on a Sunday evening. And I hope you're having a great weekend. I am Khyati Desai. I'm a chartered accountant by profession. I have worked with KPMG. I've worked with Money Control, which is CNBC TV18. I have worked for a lot of corporates. What I do for a living, I am an external consultant to corporates for strategy and risk management. I also happen to have added a fintech arm, the grow fintech with my husband. We have a finance distribution business, and we very recently, turned it into a fintech by kind of collaborating with online platform, tech platform, and we raised one round of funds for our startup as well. So that's what I have done so far in life, and I would love to share my journey and love to help anyone, and uh, kind of would like to share various experiences, because I think what we need the most is somebody to show us the way, and from there we have to walk our own paths, but it's always better if somebody shows us the right direction. And this is my opportunity and my way of giving back to the society, when I have received so much. And I would like to start off this session by saying that we are probably living in the best times economically that India can be in. We are seeing a very strong economic growth in the country. I think if you're in the IT sector, you have seen probably the best 2 years that could ever be if you're in the IT job market. Is that what I'm saying? And even the startup environment, it's we have seen nothing like this before. So yeah, we're all here at the right place at the right time. So let's all celebrate that. And thank you, Alicia, and thank you, Aman, for having me here. And uh, before you can, you want to start off with the questions, or should I, kind of share a few uh, things that I have thought of sharing with the audience?
Says first, few things
All
you want to
right.
share.
So, all right. I get this a lot of times that, specifically because we're talking about women and women in finance. A lot of times, what happens is, people keep asking that, is it okay if you're married? Is it, a lot of job interviews ask you, if you're married, are you planning to have children? Are you planning to, have a family? All these things keep happening. So my favorite go to line, as far as career in general for anybody, and specifically for women, is that your circumstances don't determine or are not the reason whether you for you to succeed or fail. Your circumstances are a reality in which you must succeed. All right. So there can be so many reasons. All right, everybody has different struggles, and I'm not talking about only women. I think everybody comes with a background which is very unique. uh, you can use it to your advantage, you can keep crying over it as a disadvantage, but the fact is you cannot change it, so you have to just accept it, and with that move on, and find ways. Because I have been a woman, I have been a married woman, I have been a a mother, and at every point in time I faced a lot of challenges, but I found my way out. For example, all of you in Mumbai and Bangalore will relate to this, that it is crazy amount of time we spend commuting. If you're working somewhere, it is totally insane the amount of hours we spent commuting. And at a point when I had a family, I decided to take a sabbatical and do something where I don't have to travel. So I kind of started teaching. That's where I made connects, and I kind of reached out to a lot of people who are my who are my very core network right now. So I think you have to find your ways, and you have to kind of forge your way away out of it. There is nothing that will be handed down to you. For example, even Arjun Tendulkar or Abhishek Bachchan, we think they are the most entitled people they could ever be, but they have their own struggles. So it's everybody has struggles. You have to just accept your circumstances and always find a way out. And how will you find a way out? You read, you network, you connect to people, and that's how and you keep trying, don't give up. Keep trying. Just because something looks difficult or something looks unattainable, do not give up. Keep trying. That's one of the most key learnings that I would say I have. And another thing that I really really stick to is that you should constantly learn, for a career progression, for growing, for whether it's in the corporate world, or if it's a startup, or you're trying to be an entrepreneur. The only way in life to succeed is to keep learning all the time. Keep learning new things. For example, when COVID struck, I'm a freelancer. Okay, so I get work. I work with corporates on a freelance basis. And with COVID, obviously, that took a back seat, and I had a lot of free time on hand. And that's when I decided to learn technical analysis. Stock markets is something I'm very very passionate about. So being a chartered accountant, fundamental analysis is kind of something that I kind of know and understand, and a lot. But technical analysis was a totally different field, and I spent the entire lockdown reading and learning technical analysis by reading books, by attending webinars. I think we live in a world where, if you genuinely decide to learn something, a new skill, a new area, a new language, if you're programming or coding, it's so easy. All you need to do is probably just get on YouTube, or get onto a paid resource, or even a lot of free resources, and you can just learn. So I think the key thing is keep learning. Don't ever give up learning.
Yes, ma'am, you said it very right. That if there is any problem, then we should have a curiosity to learn learn anything, whatever we want, so we can achieve the goal.
To summarize, what I would like to say is accept your circumstances and find a way around it. Don't kind of wait for the right opportunity and the right circumstance and the right everything to align, and then start something. It will never happen to anyone. So whatever you want to achieve in life, wherever you want to go in life, you have to make that first step. You have to take the first step, and that you have to take. Nobody else will take for you. So number one, get going. Whatever you want to do, start. Number one. Number two, keep learning. Fortunately and unfortunately, our formal education does come to a stop at one particular time. And then who grows the most, or how fast you grow, depends on how fast and how frequently you keep learning and updating yourself. In an extremely fast changing world, you have to keep on upgrading yourself, and how else are you going to do it? You can't go back to school, and you can't keep on taking programs. Reading, read. That's what I would suggest. Read a lot, and I think that's how you will grow as a person, as a professional. Number three, core values. If you want to grow in life, if you want to have a peaceful life, if you want to make, bring about some change, a positive change in you, in people around you, in the organization, in the world, you have to have some core values that you really stick to. And it sounds very old fashioned that, be honest and be kind and be nice, but in one sentence, the kind guys or the nice person never finishes last. You may feel it's a short term disadvantage, but always think long term. And in the long term, I don't know a single person who kind of failed or did not succeed because he was being nice or he was being kind. So that's the third very most important thing. And the fifth one is that, try to add value wherever you are, in an organization, in a society, in a community. If you add value, you will always find opportunities. Because there are two things. You can just do something for the sake of it because you're supposed to, or you enjoy it, you do it, you try to do it in a better way than is possible, and the second part always wins. That's where you will never be short of opportunities. A lot of people are there unemployed, not because there are no opportunities, because you don't fit the opportunity, or you don't add value in an organization or anywhere. If you add value, if somebody makes your life easy, in simple terms, would you not want that person as a part of your life? We all want somebody who makes our lives easy, right? So be that somebody who makes life easy for the others, and that's why you'll always be wanted. There will never be any short of opportunities.
Yes, ma'am, very rightly said. And these are in the personal aspects of life. I want to ask you what if we want to move up in the corporate ladder, what would be our first step?
Okay, extension of what I just said. For moving up in the corporate ladder, first of all, you need to learn to network. Networking meaning connecting to people you work with, connecting to people, maybe your clients if you're in a client facing position, connecting to people higher up in the organization, connecting with your peers, with your subordinates, connecting to people working as a part of your team. It's very, very, very important, because these are the people, uh, you know people might change companies, might change jobs, and they will pull you in if you are at good terms, and you've been keeping in touch, and you have maintained the relationships. So number one is networking. Even in your social circle, in your community, keep connecting to more and more people. So number one is networking. Number two is, like I said, add value. For example, if in consulting, we always say that you should, for example, in audit, or where you are expected, there is something called as customer expectation or customer service, or there is something called as customer delight. So you should always aim for customer delight, meaning, you may not, it may not be a customer, you're working for a company, so your team or your senior or your performance manager has to be completely delighted with the way you work and the way you deliver. It's not always possible, but most of the times, try to make people's life easier and try to add value. Just don't do things for the sake of it. So these are two main important things. And like I said, keep learning, keep adding skills, keep goals where if you're a programmer, add, learn new languages. And very importantly, no matter where you are in the organization or which field you come from, learn how money works, learn finance, how microeconomic works, how finances work, because at the end of the day, we are all here to make money and grow money, right? So if you don't understand business, if you don't understand business cycles, if you don't understand how money works, eventually you will find it difficult to grow above the operational aspects of business. Right. So if you want to move to the middle level management, or you want to move higher than the middle level management, it's very, very important that you understand the basics of business, you understand basics of economics, you understand basics of how money works. So if that is something you haven't learned, or you are not a commerce graduate, then you need to pick up some books, and you need to pick up something to upgrade yourself and understand these basic things. Otherwise, movement above the middle level management is going to be very, very difficult.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your thoughts about this. Uh, this whole program is about women empowerment. So, I would like to ask you, as you have achieved a great success in your life, that what is women empowerment to you all about? Like, if how should a woman be in any field that she can be called fully empowered woman?
To me, to be fully empowered is to be happy, to be really happy doing what you're doing. There is no measure of happiness in money, but yeah, it does offer you a lot of independence. So to me, a truly empowered woman is somebody who can make her own decisions as to how she wants to spend her time and what she wants to do, without having to ask anyone, or depend on anyone for these decisions. And for that, it's important that you be financially independent.
Yes, ma'am. It would be very important for us to know, as we are the youths of the country. So, it's really important to know all these basic things. Uh, my next question would be, what would you be advice to someone who wants to do a startup?
Okay.
Like, like in today's era, startup is playing a very vital role. As you can see, everywhere startup is like a keyword. It is very famous. Startup. All of them wants to do a startup. So, what's the beginning? How can we start?
All right. So, startup is like the new cool thing to do, and like you mentioned, it's the thing to do. Everybody wants to do a startup, but let me tell you, it is one of the most difficult things to do. Like I mentioned, business is not easy, because you and only you are responsible for everything. All right, there is no blame game here. There is nobody to share your workload. There is nobody to share your financial load. All right. So my advice to anybody wishing to start, do a startup is, first, it's very important that you work somewhere. You work for somebody. Two, three things. It opens up your mind. It adds dimensions to your skills and your thought process that working all by yourself or alone will not add. Also, if you are wanting to do a startup, please understand economics very, very, very deeply. You may be very good at coding. You may be able to bring up, or put up a very good program, or a financial product, or a any product, a hard product. For example, you may be very good at. For example, let's see, what are these very, very successful businesses doing. Amazon was selling books. Is it very path breaking, or is it something that people never did before? No. uh, you know Likewise, you just look around you. Most very, very successful people, have they done something very different which didn't exist before? No. They did very, very common things, but they did them with a lot of financial sense, something that made it more profitable. All right. So once the activity is profitable and you can scale it up, for example, you may be the best baker in your area. You make the best cupcakes. But how scalable is that? Will you be able to supply to the whole of Bombay, to the whole of India? So think on the broader level. All right. Initially you may be very, very excited that, oh, I'm getting 100 orders a day, or 200 orders a day. Are you going to be able to sustain that? Will you be able to continue doing that for a long period of time, and will you be able to make profits by that activity? These are two very, very basic questions you should ask yourself. And if answer to both is yes, then you should go ahead and do a deep dive and do a feasibility test and do all of the rest. But if these any of one of the two answers is not yes, then you should drop it. And before you try a startup, I please urge you, if you're all young people just out of college, it's a very, very, I mean, I'm very much in favor of entrepreneurship and the startup culture. But to be successful, you have to gain experience. Please work for a year or two, gain experience, and then start up something.
Yes, ma'am. I hope the audience are getting this, as this was the very famous question, like how to do a startup, how to do this. Startup is a new cool word, as you have mentioned. So next, I would like to ask that if someone started a startup and is doing well in that, and later on stage, if he gets stuck and things do not move in their favor, then what should be their step ahead? Should they
That's
stop
what
their
I said.
startup or
No, that's why I said, why you should work outside is because number one, you need to develop a lot of patience if you really want to get into business, entrepreneurship, startup, whatever name you want to call it. You have to have an endless bit of patience because things don't start moving and things get stuck for a very, very, very long time. It's not easy. So, one, patience will help you. Number two, if you have worked outside, if you have a secondary, something that you can simultaneously or parallelly do, a lot of things you can parallelly do while you're doing startup or a business. You can teach online now. That's a big, big, big thing that is doing the rounds. You can keep on learning. You can add new skills. You can go attend events. Basically, keep moving in the direction of your goal. So wherever you're trying to reach it, you may not be able to reach right now, but keep trying, don't stop. And simultaneously also accept a possibility that it may not just work at all. And hence always have your options open, have a fallback, have a plan B in place. And if things get stuck, the only thing that you can do is you keep moving. You may not be able to run, you may be only able to crawl, but at least it's better than just standing still. So keep moving, don't stop and keep exploring. As you move ahead, more options, more doors will keep opening, so you have to keep trying.
yes, ma'am? I think surely it would help many of them who are watching us. Um, so I would like to say that wealth is also important in today's era. Like all of them, you have already mentioned it. Like all of them are working for it to create wealth. So, what would be the best step to create wealth?
This is a very important question, and to all the young people who are listening today, uh, there are two basic fundamental facts of life. Nobody else is interested in growing your money, and nobody else is interested in raising your children properly. These two are your sole responsibilities. Nobody else, no, all perform, all these portfolio managers and mutual funds, they all come to you and tell you that, oh, we are very good at this and you can leave it to us and we'll do it. Yes, it's all true, but you will have to decide which mutual fund, you will have to decide how much money to allocate where. And let me tell you that even if you are earning a very, very average income per month, but if you start investing or saving very early in life, you will be you will be much more wealthier and much more financially well off than people who are double your salary right now but have started saving, let's say, 5 years later than you. That is the power of compounding. If I can just put it in one simple word, that compounding is the ninth wonder of the world. It's magic. It's magic how it grows your money. So as soon as you start earning, you have to learn investing. You have to learn how to allocate your money to assets which will earn you money. For example, there are two ways you can earn. One is by giving your time, which is what you do. When you take up a job, or when you do a, you do your business. That's what you do. You use your skills and your time to earn money. But what happens when you are sleeping? Nothing, right? Your money doesn't grow. Investing makes sure that your money grows even when you're sleeping. All right. So it's very, very important that as soon as you start earning, please allocate at least 20 to 25% of your income. Your income may be as small as 1500, it may be your stipend, okay, but make it a habit to invest 20% of your income regularly in a disciplined manner. You will be shocked by um, the with the speed with which you will start gaining money and creating wealth later in life, because time and compounding, it's a magic wand. So I think best advice is please invest, please learn about investing. And you can do mutual fund investment, you can do SIP in equities, you can do whatever you feel right. But please save and please invest. That's the only fastest, surest, and most accurate way to get rich.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your views. Um, so next we will move forward to like this are all the startup and business things. If someone is working in a company, like most of the tech enthusiasts, like fresher, they first start with their companies, like working in companies. They go for companies. So they deal with many people. Like first they deal with their bosses. It's a very sometimes they get a boss whom they can't manage. They cannot tolerate it. And as they are warm blooded peoples, like today's pressure, they can't handle the situation. So what would be the best advice according to you, how to deal with their bosses?
All right, that's a very very practical question, and I think everybody faces it. I faced it. Everybody, whoever has worked at any place, you face that. You sometimes don't get along with your boss, or he's not an, he's or he or she is somebody very difficult to deal with. Now, there are two things here. Uh, a lot of times there's this video of Sadhguru on the internet that he says that a lot of people keep coming to me saying that I just cannot work with these people. I don't want to work here just because I cannot deal with these people. So Sadhguru says to these people, I say that then you have to go to heaven because perfect people only exist there. All right. So one thing is this is the fact of life. You're not married to your boss or whoever is your coworker. If you can't get along, keep it short, keep it limited, keep it you know keep a boundary where it does not impact your mental well-being, it does not impact your performance. Keep that barrier that okay, this person is negative or is toxic or is not really helping my mental state, so block that person out. But need not be vocal, you need not be violent, you need not be really reactive to that. All right. Most people are difficult to work with, all right, because we are all different human beings. So you will find that it's not easy to work with everybody. There will be different degrees of difficulties. Some people are very easy to work with, some are a little more difficult, some are very very difficult. So you have to keep that in mind. At the same time it is very important that you understand if somebody is very very toxic, if somebody is constantly trying to push you down, is constantly trying to demotivate you, is trying to harm you and your growth in some way, then it is best that you either move out or you voice your concern to a higher authority or a higher, there is always a, a, a committee in every organization for grievances. You can always voice it out there, and that's how you can deal with it.
Yes, ma'am, very nicely explained. um, like what is better to do, to start a startup or do a job according to you?
That's a very individualistic question. Depends on what are your priorities in life. If you want to first look at financial stability, if you want to build up a substantial base financially, and 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 also if you want to learn more initially in the initial years of your life, then you should do a job. Subsequently, you should do a startup when you're confident enough of solving a problem. Don't do a startup for the sake of it. It is not going to help you, it's not going to help anybody else. When you're putting your time, your resources, please be aware of the fact that if you were not doing this, you would be earning x amount of money somewhere else, giving just by giving your time or your skill. So always make that comparison in your mind. Does it financially make sense to spend your time and effort doing this? Question number 1. Question number 2, how happy, how stress free, or how good you feel about both these options. A lot of people don't feel stress free doing a startup because there's a lot of pressure on you. Vis-a-vis a job, you can just go do your work, come back and forget about it. Right. For example, I was also running three pizza outlets in Mumbai, and I thought it was very cool to have a pizza outlet. And on paper it looked very good, and it was very profitable and everything. And I went out every weekend, and I felt, oh my god, these are the only people making money out there. So let's get into this. But when I actually got into it, I realized that it is a headache. It is a nightmare because at 12 o'clock in the night, also you will get a call saying that tomatoes are over. If you can't manage your, I mean, it's so difficult to manage your own kitchen at home. You don't know who's going to eat how much at, whether the person will, you always have leftovers at home, right? So imagine now, imagine it at a restaurant scale, how much that will be. So it's a headache. So please deep dive into something before jumping into it. You should not feel stuck. So please assess your options. And my sincere advice to everybody out there is, first please get a exposure, in a corporate environment, or in whatever working setup, formal working setup. Before starting out on your own, you will be much better positioned mentally to accept the challenges and to kind of be successful.
Yes, ma'am. We have heard most of the people saying this, they are not getting a good job or the desired job, whatever they want. So, what is the definition of a good job?
Okay, good job is a little subjective, but we all of us have this desired job that, "Arey, I want to work with so and so company, or I want to work here, or I want to be a part of this organization." What you should do is, if you can, obviously the most obvious way is, you apply through their website or however you apply for a job. But if that doesn't work, then what you should do is, I think there are so many social media platforms now. Like, for example, if you're on Twitter, if you're on I don't know how many professionals are on Instagram, but Twitter and LinkedIn, these are two platforms where you can reach out to a lot of people. Specifically Twitter, I think there is no barrier. You can just message somebody. And I know a lot of like Anand Mahindra is very active on Twitter. He responds very quickly. Uday Kotak quite recently was very active. I know if you are in the financial space, you would know Zerodha. Zerodha is a Bangalore-based startup, and they are into brokerage for equities. And Nitin Kamath is the founder, and he's very very active on Twitter. So I have personally written messages or direct messages to people, and I have got responses. You can cold mail people, just send emails stating, "Hi sir, I'm very inspired by you, and I would like to be a part of the organization, and these are my skills." This is something where you will come across, and you'll create a different kind of impression, and there is a very very high probability, at least you will get a response. I don't know whether you'll get a job, but you always get a response, because all these people, they do read their mails, and they do respond to their mails. So that this is a very good chance, or this is a very good way to reach out to a lot of people. And if you write well, if you communicate well, there is a high probability you might land at the job.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your views about this. Uh, like we have discussed a lot about these things. Our next question would be how to create a work-life balance, because it is very important.
Well, work-life balance is a everyday struggle for everybody. But I think very very importantly, prioritize. You have to very very clearly have it in your mind that what is your priority right now. For the week, for the month, for the next 2 months, and and uh, and ask for help. I think a lot of us hesitate a lot for asking for help. Ask for help from family, from friends, from your colleagues when you need. So don't hesitate to ask for help, because we are all trying to do a lot of things, and we are not superhumans, and we are not superwomen to kind of do it all by ourselves. So we will need a support system. So create your own support system. All right. So what is your support system? Your family, your maids. If you're a woman, it's a big support system. Your friends, whom last minute something goes wrong or something, you can just pick up the phone and tell them to take care of it, and they'll do it for you. So this is your support system. Grow your support system, and it doesn't work one way. You can't keep calling all the time and everybody else obliging to you. You will also have to go and help them. So it's a mutual thing. So create your support system. Create an environment where you have somebody to fall back on. That's number one. Number two, communicate. Communicate your problems at work. If you have prior uh, whatever is planned, at least please inform your colleagues, please inform your boss that in this month I would have to go early today or the next week, or I'm planning a holiday 2 months later. Or if so, in most cases what will happen is you will never have to kind of make a last minute intimation. When does somebody get irritated? When you don't know that something is going to happen. If you're well informed, there's less trouble. So communicate, and if there is something unexpected that has happened, please communicate. That's the key word. Please talk, please communicate in a nice way. And I think that's those are two most important things. Always ask for help. Build your own support system real strong. And number three, please communicate. If you have a problem, say it. If you are planning to do something, please tell everybody who will be impacted that I'm planning to do this at this time.
I think all our audience will also imply this in their personal life to balance their work life. Um, I would like to ask you that can you share some examples of your life where you have faced the real struggle or challenge that the things are not going in your way the way you wanted it to be?
Okay, I'll share. I just mentioned that I once owned three pizza outlets. So this was when I took a break after I had my baby, and I couldn't sit at home. So I started teaching first. I was teaching CA final students and all of that. And then I came across this opportunity where I thought this was very very exciting. And I thought that this is and it was it is still the most happening sector and the most profitable sector also if you do it well. So I owned and operated three pizza outlets in Mumbai. And I also was in talks with one of the leading manufacturers of innerwear, which is Maxwell Industries, which is VIP, the brand. And they wanted to kind of branch out into doing premium retail for their innerwear. And they kind of partnered with me, and we set up one outlet, and we tried to set that rolling also. That was one thing I was very very confident about, because I thought it was perfect. It looked very nice on paper. The financials were working out very well. I thought I had some amazing partners. Be it the pizza outlet or VIP Industries, both were amazing people to work with. So I was very very confident that I cannot go wrong here. And the idea, and the bigger idea, was that create a company wherein I will have franchisees for different brands, and then scale it up and take it maybe multi-city, and have a pan India presence, all of that. But when I actually got into it, I realized that how difficult it is. It is not easy to manage even one outlet on your own. So you need a team of people. You need a lot of people, because you need to be present. If I had three outlets, on some days I had to go to all three. All right, on the very busy days, and on the very slack days also, it is very very difficult, because then you have to manage your wastage. What do you do about all the wastage that you have? So on the ground, it was very, very difficult to manage. It looked very easy on paper, and it was equally difficult in execution. The other challenge that I faced was, while one of the promoters or one of the companies that I worked was, both of them were good people, but they had their own circumstances. For example, the pizza people we worked with, they were a homegrown brand, and they could not sustain. They were unable to keep supplying the quality product and maintain the quality and taste of the product over a period of time. Now, when you're a franchise, you're totally dependent on the parent, right? You cannot go out and procure your own products and start building a pizza on on your own. You have to kind of rely on them, and they will supply you things. That's how the industry works. So that didn't work. And with VIP, they were very very genuine people. I didn't make a loss there, but they decided that they don't want to do this any longer. They are happy being the manufacturers, and they are happy just doing distribution the way they did, and they don't want to get into this multi retail headache and all of that. So eventually I had to shut it down, and that was a huge setback, because I felt that I was very convinced that this cannot go wrong. But that happens to you when you're very convinced. It happens to everybody. And so for almost 6 months I didn't know what to do. And then I started, but that experience gave me such a deep insight on how businesses work, on the finances part of it, on the operational part of it, that I was with KPMG for 5 years prior to that, and then I picked it up from there, and I became a strategist and a consultant to corporates, whenever they wanted to change something in their operating cycle. I worked with a lot of companies like HUL, Blue Dart. I've helped them optimize their operating processes. I've helped them, bring about cost reductions and cost savings, and all of that has been possible only because I did it myself. I had my hands dirty. I tried to run a business, try to revive it, try to save it, all of that, and that experience, the amount of skills that it added in me, and it how it grew me, how I grew as a person, through that experience. I think that is priceless, and I'm a lot of it. Of my success, I attribute to that.
It's great to know, ma'am, that you have overcome this struggle of your life. Uh, for our audience, time is leaping up very fast, so it is important to learn from other people's experience. So, as ma'am has shared her experience, so we must learn from that. Um, like, ma'am, you are in the finance field. So, in which phase of the life you have decided that you want to do job or work in this field, finance field?
Okay, I'm a chartered accountant. I think finance came naturally to me, and I started working out on my own because I found the traffic and the traveling part really getting to my productivity. Because if I was traveling 4 hours in a day, then it took away from my family time, it took away from my productivity, it made me tired, and it made me unhappy. In short, it made me very very unhappy. And I decided that as much as I love consulting, and as much as I love working, I cannot continue this. It's affecting my health, it's affecting my family life, it's affecting everything. And that's when I decided I need to find a way out to continue doing what I love to do, and still not have all these problems. And that's why I started out doing freelance assignments. Initially work was easy because I was connected, but then finding the next project, touch wood, with my networking and with the kind of friends I have in the industry that I've made over the years, I've never fallen short of work. But like I told you, in COVID, I realized that I need to add on to this. I really like equity markets, and technical analysis is something I didn't learn and I didn't understand and I didn't know till prior to pre-COVID. And I took that as an opportunity, and I like learned it from scratch. I read books, I attended webinars, I took up courses, and I learned technical analysis. And now I also trade in the equity markets alongside whatever business I do. So it's very important that you start developing various sources of income. Only then you will be free. You will have more free time because your money is earning for you. You no longer have to deploy your time. So please have more than one source of income. And what is a multiple source of income? Investing is also a source of income. All right. So when you invest your money wisely, and it gives you good returns, that's a different source. That's a second source of income, right? Now you have a, let's say, a interest income or a dividend income or a rent income in addition to your salary. So that's another additional source of income. So as you go along, keep opening paths. At least have two sources of income.
Yes, ma'am. And the most important question, like, who is the role model of your life?
Okay. Role models, I think I've had different role models at different points. Yeah, like as a student, I always wanted to be that anchor on TV18 and talk business terms and all of that. And then as I grew up, I really looked up to a lot of women. Uh, my boss who was phenomenal. My mom who's a great work life balance. She has also achieved a great work life balance. So I think there is inspiration all around you, and you should learn the best things from whoever you look up to.
Um, so we have we are done with our question answers. I would like our audience to ask any questions if they want to ask with ma'am.
Sure.
Yes. Like from audience, we are having this question: what are the problems according to you women face in the corporate world?
Okay, there are a lot of problems. To start with, there is a gender bias sometimes. It's very, it has changed and evolved over the years from when I started working to today. It has changed a lot, but some of it is still there, the gender bias. Then you have these sexual harassment kind of problems that you face in the corporate world. I think in both cases, be it your somebody who's biased because, or who is being biased to you because you're a woman, or when people ask you questions in interviews that are you planning to get married, are you planning to have a family, from ranging from that to actual physical abuse or harassment. I think we need to speak up. We need to connect as women, and speak up, because if you keep on being the victim, there is no way out. You have to find your voice, you have to speak up for yourself, and you have to stand up for yourself. Nobody else is going to do that for you. Don't be a victim, just get up and say it. That's number one. But the more milder form of trouble that most people or most women face in the corporate world is, you don't get credit for your work, and you don't get paid equally because you never ask for it. Because most women I speak to or interact with or I see, as women, we feel very we're very hardworking. We're okay to put in the hours, we're okay to put in the effort. But when it comes to talking about a price, a salary hike, or negotiating a salary, we kind of back out. We do not want to ask for a hike. We hesitate doing that. So I think you should be very confident, and you should, if you're confident of your skills, you should go and ask for the pay. Very confidently ask for a raise. I think that's one big problem that we have. We underestimate ourselves, and we never ask for a raise. We're okay, matlab, whatever people say, we're okay. Okay, fine. Never negotiate on the financials. Please do that.
I hope you would be able to get the answer, the one who has asked the question from our audience side. Uh, our next question is there any age boundary, like is this the perfect age to earn money? Like, I think she want to ask this. Yes.
Okay.
Is there any age boundary where we can earn money?
There is no age limit to when you want to make money. I know somebody who started something at the age of 45, and is doing phenomenally well. And by the way, since that this age question has come in, the average age of a startup or an entrepreneur is 40. So whatever your age is, you are still way, you have a long, long, long time to go.
Hope so. This question was also answered. Uh, any more questions from our audience? Like someone wants to know, is there any background? Means, is there a background required for doing job in some field? Family background. Is it necessary to have such a family background to work in that field?
No, I think there is no, except I think medicine, where if you want to be a doctor, in today's life and times, it's very difficult to start your own practice and understand the nitty gritties of how the profession works. I think other than that, none of the professions need a family background. It doesn't matter. Even doctors, it doesn't really matter. But if you want to set up your own clinic or a own hospital, then if you have a family background, it really helps. It gets faster. Your journey or your progression gets much faster if you are from a medical background family. Other than that, I think none of it really matters.
We would some of them also like to ask you. Can you explain your whole journey in a short short note
All right.
or
So,
something in a simple point?
all right. So to start from the start, I always wanted to be a doctor because I come from a family where my cousins, my siblings, everybody is something related to science, either an engineer or a doctor or something like that. And I didn't score well for some reason in tenth, and I didn't kind of end up getting fast taking up science. I ended up taking commerce, and I was very very disappointed in myself. And I thought I wasted my life. And if it was like that if I couldn't take science, then what am I going to do? I'm going to be a BCom, or I don't know what exactly I'm going to be. And so that 1 year was really bad, and I was very very disappointed and lost. Basically, I didn't know what to do, where to go. And fortunately, one of my friends, was very close friends, was planning to pursue CA, and I kind of just joined her because I didn't know anything better to do. And that was I think a game changer. And I really enjoyed what I did. And then I cleared my CA. I started working, and in CA you have to do an internship kind of thing. So there are that's the a lot of times in life we think that we have to find the moments where we decide what we want to do. Those moments never come. But there are moments where I don't want to do this. For example, this moment, I was sent to the tax office. I decided I cannot do tax. This is not something I can do. That was very clear. Right. So then I had to look at other options, and I realized that audit is not very interesting to me. So I enjoyed consulting. And I started my journey with consulting, and it was extremely extremely fulfilling, and it was very very happy place for me. And I really enjoyed and I until date, that's something that gives me the maximum pleasure. Apart from that, as a student, I was interning with money control, and I was writing for them. I was I loved talking. Like you can see, I love talking. So I used to teach. I started teaching, so I kind of enjoyed that. See, you have to try a lot of things because life is not a pre-designed manual with instructions. So you have to try a lot of things, and most of the times the answer is that I can't do this or I don't like this. At least it ticks off all the things that you don't want to do, and then it makes it easier to arrive at what you really want to do. So that's how I arrived at consulting. And uh, I still love doing that. And I am doing that as a profession. But I think gradually, like I told you, at every stage, I realize that I cannot have a work life balance if I have to travel so much. So then I decided to start something like this, which didn't go well. So then I dropped it, and I picked up something else. The point is, keep moving, don't stop.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your experience. Another question is that if you want to earn more money, then taking risk is mandatory.
No, you don't have to really take risks. You have to work smart. Like I told you, the best way to get rich without much risk attached is develop multiple sources of income. So you're not, like, I think COVID has taught us all the extreme importance of having multiple sources of income, right? So if one source stops, you have money flowing in from other sources. So what is that common second source that everybody can build, irrespective of who you are, where you are, is either a dividend income by investing in equities, or I don't recommend FDs to anybody, even my worst enemy, because right now in an inflationary environment, if you understand economics, you're actually losing money by putting your money in a FD. All right. So you have to understand these things. You have to understand how money works. That's one of the basic things which unfortunately we are not taught in life. This has to be part of school education, because the entire life we are only trying to do that, right? We're trying to earn money and earn more money, but we don't know how it works, and that's why we kind of struggle on most fronts. So starting today, starting now, please start a SIP, or do a ETF, or exchange traded fund in equities. Having a equity exposure is very, very, very important. Allocate, don't put all your savings into that. Put it in some part of it, buy gold bees. You can buy physical gold. You can buy something called gold bees, which is a derivative product of gold, which is also equally good. You can trade on exchange. There's something called ETF, exchange traded funds. You can do all of this and let your money grow. The important point is, in a SIP, don't stop it no matter what. So you decide an amount which is very comfortable to you. Like 100 rupees a month is comfortable, put 100 rupees, but put every single month. Don't stop.
Hope it has answered the question. Our next question is how to manage money for investment. If someone really wants to invest, how they can manage the money.
All right. First and foremost, like I told you, whatever you're earning, you need to dedicatedly see in investment and all. People think that it's a rocket science, and you need to study this, that, and the other. People who make the most money by investing are not people who are very smart and intelligent, are people who are disciplined. Why do you think all these kitties work? Why do you think all these, any housewife, I think when that monetary this came, no, demonetization, the biggest hidden wealth came from the housewives, because they had hidden stashes of money for a rainy day. I'm sure you all are aware, your mothers, or whoever the elder women in the family, they will always have money. They will always have some cash saved away. How does that come? Even if they are not educated or they are not going and earning, they learn to save, and they do it diligently. Every month they will put aside some money. So I'm not advising you to put it in, as idle cash, but then you look at your options. Who are you? Are you the sole earning member of the family? Does your entire family depend on your income? Then your selection or your choice of investment should be very different. You should not take risk at all. But who, if you're the younger generation, meaning you have earning parents and grandparents, and you're settled, and you don't really have to go and buy a house today, and the entire family's food doesn't depend on you, then you go out and take the risk. You go invest in equities, go invest in exchange traded funds, do SIPs and mutual funds. All right. But no matter what you do, this is not a woman thing, I'm telling you. Please buy gold in whatever form. It can be physical, it can be in the form of derivatives, because that is the only true hedge of inflation, and that's the only true value, uh, true asset which the value of which will not erode. Today, if you are in Sri Lanka, if you are aware of what is happening, your money, your hard cash has no value. All right. But if you have a bar of gold, it has the same value. All right, you can still exchange it for as many goods that you could before the crisis happened. So please realize the importance of gold as an asset, which for which the value remains constant. Now if you're buying it as an asset, please don't buy jewelry. It doesn't make sense. It has to be a physical, that 999 purity gold bar or a coin or whatever form, or you can buy the digital form. It's called gold bees. It's traded on the exchanges. So your investment pattern or allocation will depend on how much risk you can afford to take. But very safe, you want to be very, very safe, consistently without a gap. Please keep investing every month in exchange traded funds, ETFs, and gold bees. You can't go wrong. Okay, I can read this question. Is it true that after your graduation, if we pursue a job and after some years we want to study again, will we not? Why are women discouraged in this way? All right, see, it's all in the mind. Whatever barriers you have are in your mind. And let me tell you, it has never been easier to learn or educate yourself than it is now. Thanks to COVID, we have everything online. Whatever course you want to do, whatever. And I think it's not necessary that you enroll into a program. There are so many free resources. I learned technical analysis entirely from YouTube videos, by attending webinars, by reading books. That's it. And I am doing a good job at technical analysis. I can compare, or exchange notes, or talk to uh, you know a regular person who has actually studied technical analysis. I can have a conversation, I can have a discussion, I can have some use. So, educating, learning a skill is very, very easy. Please decide to do it and do it. Don't wait for anybody and don't ask anybody. You want to do it, just do it. And it's so easy. You can do it in your free time. You can watch videos on YouTube. You can enroll for an offline course. You can enroll for an online course if you wish to, join university. That's Please remove those, barriers from your mind. And I think, as women, one thing we need to really, really, really tell ourselves every day is, don't care about what the world says and what the world feels. Doesn't matter. What you think, what you feel, what you want to do is prime importance. Everything and everyone else can just take a walk.
Um, Next question from our audience side is, for women, will you please tell various sources of income who is in rural areas?
All right, rural areas. Very interesting question. I think it's the opening. This sector is opening up a lot. Uh, Okay, for example, I know somebody who is selling jewelry online. Okay, has a page on Instagram. Every Saturday, she has a live exhibition, meaning she sets up whatever collection she has. It's imitation jewelry, and she shows and she talks so nicely. She will wear it and show you. She will explain that this is like this. This you can wear with that. This you can wear with this. I think she is now touching sales of around 5 to 10 crores. And she's from a average small town, and there's no big investment, doing it from her home, just one phone and just one Instagram account. There are careers and there are options so huge and so varied, so different in the digital world, that there is no way, there are no limits. You decide to do something, you find that you're good at it, and then just go for it. There is no limitations, thanks to all the digitalization and all the social media. Please use it positively. I know a lot of women who have made businesses on social media and are doing very well. And social media, you don't need to be in any particular geography, right? You can be anywhere in the world and still do a business, you can teach online. You can just make, if you think you're very good at something, just make videos and post it. It could be makeup, it could be you know academics, it could be some particular cooking. There is no end to it. Just start by posting videos and see how people are reacting to it. That's one way of doing something. Another way is, if you're in a rural area, there are so many things that are not still not available. So find that one thing that people really want and is not available, and then go for it. Look around, think. There are endless opportunities.
Thank you, ma'am. Hope it has answered the question. Um, Next question is, do you think gender affects anyone in getting a particular job? I think ma'am has discussed this.
Hmm.
This. Um, Hope you will find the answer. Our next question is, what is your strategy to invest money? How do you manage it per month? It's
Like
first.
I told you, it is non-negotiable. The day your salary is credited, or whatever your source of income, the day it hits your bank account, you have to make sure that 20% or 30%, whatever you're comfortable, that's your call. But that money has to immediately be withdrawn and put it in a separate account, or directly into those instruments where you want to invest. And only then, the next day, you start spending. Unfortunately, with all this BNPL, buy now, pay later, credit cards, and this entire move towards consumerism, we've learned to spend. We know where to spend before we have the money, but we don't know how to grow it, or we don't know where to invest. There we need advice. So please educate yourself on investment. What I know, I can tell you, you can put it in mutual funds, but you'll have to really study which funds give good returns. Otherwise, your money will just go down the drain. So the one option is the top three or top two mutual funds that are there in the market today. You can, like I told you, buy physical gold, buy gold bees. Put your money in exchange traded funds, ETFs they are called. Or if you understand equities, directly invest in equities. It's one of the best asset classes. If you have a substantial income, please diversify, buy some real estate, where you can which you can give it on rent. That is one way you can manage your money. Only underlying factor is amount is not important. The amount is not important. The discipline and the consistency is important. Even if you put, like I said, 100 rupees, but you do it every single month for the next 30 years, you will make a crore rupee. Don't miss a single month. Consistency, starting early and sticking to it, discipline, that is very important. Only then you will grow the money.
Yes, very rightly said, ma'am. Consistency is the key to success. Mm. So, any more questions from our audience side? I think ma'am has answered all the questions. No more questions left. One more question is waiting. Like, what is your opinion about the IPO in the stock market?
If you understand stock markets, let me tell you, you don't invest in IPOs, you invest in a company. If that company sounds, is that business is making sense, then you should invest. For example, a lot of people said that oh, all these great companies that listed, Paytm and Nika, the IPOs that came and they failed miserably. So why did they fail? They're so nice and so good, and they're all over. And the story was so nice. And when the IPO came, everybody felt that, oh, this is the place to be. And suddenly, what happened? What went so wrong? So that's why I said, understand how economics and cycles work. Now we are in a stage in the economy where interest rates will go up, and when interest rates go up, tech platform companies don't function well. Number two, the basic fundamental rule of of business and economics is that you have to make profit. You may make it later, but you have to make profits. If you're a loss making company and you have a huge potential, all right, you will get valuations, but eventually, slowly, if you don't start delivering, if you don't start showing the profits, actually making profits, you tell me who is going to give you money. So you have to understand where you're putting your money. And for IPOs, if you're talking about, वो भर के then sell it on listing day, please don't do it. It's that we had a very crazy bull market, so maybe a lot of people made money there. I'm not saying money wasn't made, but going forward, that's not a good strategy. Good businesses at a good price. If there is a IPO, please invest, but please don't blindly make it a strategy कि सब IPO भरना है और फिर listing पे sell करना है. You will get stuck.
Hope this would have answered the question. Our next question is like, is stock market all about human psychology?
No, there's a lot of science to it. A lot of people underestimate it, thinking कि कुछ नहीं है. People are, it is managed and all that. There is a deep science behind it. There are a lot of rules. There is a lot of logic, and there is a lot of academics behind it. There is an entire field called fundamental analysis. There is an entire field called technical analysis, and if you study these two and if you apply it you will be accurate a lot of times. And in the stock market, a lot of times means 60% of the times. And that is huge. If you're right 60% of the times, Warren Buffett is not right for 60% of the times. So
Okay. So all our question is answered, and now I would like to thank you, ma'am, for sharing your views and opinion. You have discussed about everything. I think you have entirely covered all the aspects from technical life, finance, everything you have covered. Thank you for sparing your time, your valuable time, and sharing your thoughts with us. Um, I would also like to thank Aman sir, and ma'am, you can also share your thank. You can thank the audience or anything you would like to say at last.
I would like to thank all of you young people for taking the time out on a Sunday and giving your time to me, because time is very precious. And I hope I have done justice to your time, and that I have helped you in some way, and I have added value. I have told you something you didn't know before, or helped you in whatever way. That was the objective, and I hope I have achieved it to some degree. And I'm always happy to help. And my Twitter handle is Khyati Sarwang, and you can follow me, and you can ask me questions. You can keep in touch, and I wish you all the very best for whatever you do. And rise and shine, don't stop, and go achieve whatever you think you want to.
Thank you, ma'am. Uh, Isha, ma'am, you would like to conclude anything at last?
Okay, so thank you, Khyati, for joining us. To be honest, I was there in the session constantly. I was listening to you and Alicia conversing. I really enjoyed it. I really learned new things. I myself am not so good in finance and everything, so I did understood a few things, and I think I will be implementing them in my future. And thank you for sparing us so valuable time. We know you would be busy, but you still gave us your valuable time. Other than that, we will be sharing Khyati's LinkedIn also in the chat box, so you can even connect with her on her LinkedIn. And that's it from my side. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you, Isha. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, Aman.